We will convene back in, or ERC will reconvene. Are we good with? Yeah, I feel like we are too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, and Dave had been excused as well, so did,
The committee is what you have.
yep, did Marilyn rejoin us or no? Okay,
Marilyn, you are back on, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
thank you, Marilyn. All right, we will continue forward with the agenda. We will move on to item 7, approval of the November 29, 2022 ERC committee minutes. Motion by Supervisor Drabeck, second by Rodney Roskoff to approve. Correct? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We will move on to 8A. We have operational functions required by statute, ordinance, or resolution for the ERC. A, public hearings, review possible actions and possible recommendations to the county board for its consideration, county zoning changes, 8A 1 through 3. We will now open the public hearing. I would request that everyone please mute your phone. The Marathon County ERC is now meeting in public hearing on the location, plans, specifications, and purpose of the following projects. 1, Aaron Carlin on behalf of Tim and Tracy Carlin, General Ags Rural Residential, Town of Wien. 2, Tim Vreeland on behalf of Margaret Fuentes, Rural Estates Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton. And 3, Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick, General Agriculture to Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton. ERC members present, myself, Jacob Langenhan, Supervisor Drabeck, Rodney Roskopp, Supervisor Seefeld, Supervisor Unger, Supervisor Ritter, as well as members of staff. The establishment of the ERC is required by law for purposes of administration of county ordinances and land conservation programs. This committee must follow state laws and local ordinances as written. This committee cannot change or ignore any part of the ordinances or state laws, but must apply the laws as written. The purpose of this committee is to hear and decide on proposed ordinances and ordinance revisions, rezoning petitions, and provide direction on land conservation planning programs. The ERC will give a full and fair hearing to any person applying for a rezone petition. A taped recording is being made of the meeting, which will assist with preparation of written hearing minutes. The committee is interested in hearing all pertinent comments and questions. Each hearing will be opened by reading the public notice and allowing staff to present a staff report, including evidence from any on-site inspection. The applicant and anyone wishing to testify will be sworn in and allowed to give testimony. Witnesses will be called in order of those first in favor, second opposed, then third as interested may appear. The committee may ask questions of the zoning staff and applicant. It is necessary that we set a reasonable time limit on individual statements on the overall length of the hearing. To promote orderly discussion, anyone wishing to present oral testimony or ask questions relating to the hearing should state your name and present your testimony or question so it becomes part of the official record. We request you avoid repetition. Once the committee has all the necessary facts, chairman will close the hearing, allowing no further testimony. And the committee will deliberate and decide in front of the public whether the applicant has met the standards in the ordinance. No additional testimony from the public is allowed during the deliberation. However, the committee may question the staff for purposes of clarification. After a decision is made, the committee will proceed to the next hearing. May the decisions made by the committee are a recommendation to the Marathon County Board of Supervisors, who will take up the matter at a future county board meeting. Please contact staff for more information regarding this county board process. The committee will now hear the application on 8A1, Aaron Carson on behalf of Tim and Tracy Carlin, General Ag to Rural Residential, Town of Wien. We'll begin with our staff report. We have Shad. Shad, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
Go ahead.
All right, Aaron Carlin, petition to rezone, staff report, January 3rd, 2023, Environmental Resource Committee. The petitioner is Aaron Carlin, 308 Brooklyn Ave, Edgar, Wisconsin, 54426. Property owners are Tim and Tracy Carlin, P.O. Box 284, Edgar, Wisconsin, 54426. Location of rezone request, the area proposed to be rezoned is located 80 acres to the west of the corner of S and 3rd, or South 3rd Ave, Royal Ave. Request, the petition of Aaron Carlin on behalf of Tim and Tracy Carlin to amend General Zoning Code Ordinance for Marathon County Chapter 17 zoning to rezone lands from general agriculture to rural residential, described as part of Lot 2 of Certified Survey Map 14859-66-131, located in the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 13, Township 28 North, Range 4 East, Town of Wien. The area proposed to be rezoned is described as Lot 1 of the preliminary CSM, with a parent parcel that's listed on the staff report. Public hearings, Town of Wien Town Board meeting was held on November 14th, 2022. as well as today, Marathon County Environmental Resource Committee, January 3rd, 2023. A legal advertisement was published in the Wausau Daily Herald. Notice of the zoning change request was also sent by regular mail to adjacent property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. The existing zoning district is general agriculture. Below here is the existing generalized land use of the town of Wien. The proposed area to be rezoned is shown as woodlands, croplands, and other agriculture. Proposed zoning district, rural residential. The comprehensive future land use map, the area proposed to be rezoned is shown as mixed development in the town's comprehensive plan. Here is an aerial photo of the property and the certified survey map of the property. The town recommendation on November 14th, 2022, the Town of Wien Town Board recommended approval to Marathon County's Environmental Resource Committee. Staff comments regarding ERC conclusions of law. 1, the rezone is substantially consistent with the following plans: Marathon County Comprehensive Plan, B, Town Comprehensive Plan, and C, Marathon County Farm Preservation Plan. The Marathon County Comprehensive Plan relies on the Town Comprehensive Plan regarding specific land uses and zoning districts for individual parcels. The area proposed to be rezoned is shown to be designated as mixed development in the town's future land use map. CPZ staff rely on the towns to make these recommendations, given the town board members and residents know their town and true purpose and intent of the plan. The area in question was not designated as a farmland preservation area. The town of Wien does not participate in farmland preservation zoning. As indicated by the town's future land use map and resolution/recommendation, it appears the rezone is consistent with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan. 2, the location of the proposed development minimizes the amount of agricultural land converted and will not substantially impair or limit current or future agricultural use of other protected farmland. No farmland will be consumed. 3, the applicant demonstrates that there is a need for the proposed development. B, adequate public facilities are present or will be provided. C, providing public facilities will not be an unreasonable burden to the local government. A, the need is for a proposed land division to build a single-family home. B, all necessary public facilities are anticipated to be provided, if not already provided, given any proposed development would rely of private systems such as a well or sanitary system. C, no anticipated burden on local government. All applicable building, construction, and use standards will be applied during the zoning and building permit review process. 4, the rezoning will not cause unreasonable air and water pollution, soil erosion, or adverse effects on rare, irreplaceable natural areas. All federal, state, and local permits and approvals are required for any applicable development on site. Additionally, the proposed rezone will likely not result in any unreasonable air and water pollution, as all pertinent regulations apply and will need to be adhered to. Any disturbance greater than 1 acre would need a DNR stormwater management permit. 5, the town has approved the proposed rezone of the property. The Town of Wien Town Board has recommended approval of this petition. All concerns from other agency on the proposed rezone have been addressed. What are the concerns? The county was not made of any concerns from other agencies. Staff recommendations. The rezone meets all the district standards as it relates to size, frontage, access, and dimension. The rezone also appears to be consistent with the purpose and intent of the town's comprehensive plan, and as indicated by the town's resolution, based on the information provided above, finding of facts, conclusions of law, and the town's recommendation, it appears the rezone request meets all the zoning criteria and standards for rezoning. Therefore, CPZ staff recommend that the Environmental Resource Committee recommend approval to the Marathon County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Shad. Any questions for staff? Seeing, hearing none. Thank you. Oh, Supervisor Drayback.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, okay, if people were going to be to speak on the rezone or to speak against the rezone or anything after this many hours of waiting, is there anything that we have to do differently? Or how does that, I mean, or do we just keep going and they would have had to wait, or? Might be a question for
Mike might.
Corp Counsel.
Yeah,
Counsel.
I'll refer that to Corp Counsel.
There isn't anything legally that we would have to do differently. The notice it gives the start time of the meeting, but it doesn't guarantee when their particular item will be considered. So if they wished to make comment, they would have had to be present to do so.
And we don't have any times on the agenda, so, yeah, Chair Gibbs?
Yeah, and I think the CPC director did provide them notice that it was going to be after 5 before we would ever get to that. And 5:30 is when we were told that it may get to, so.
Last comment I'll make on that question is that they could always submit comment before the county board takes up the matter.
Sure.
At the next meeting too. So even if they did have to disconnect, they would be able to do that then as well. Okay? Okay. Any other questions for staff? All right, thank you, Shed. All right, we will move on to public testimony. I'm going to call first in favor, second opposed, and third as interested may appear. I would ask that anyone in favor of the request, please identify yourself at this time by either unmuting over the internet or by approaching the microphone at this time. We have no one in the audience, but were there any applicants online on the WebEx? We'll just check quickly. Two? Okay. Number two, okay, sounds good. I'll just go through this pretty quickly. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the request? This is for item 8A1. Please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of 8A1, please identify yourself at this time. Anybody wishing to speak opposed to the rezone for 8A1, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak opposed to the proposed rezone for 8A1, please identify yourself at this time. Anybody wishing to speak as interested for rezone 8A1, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak as interested in the proposed rezone 8A1, please identify yourself at this time. If no one else wishes to testify for this application, I am now declaring the public hearing on Aaron Carlin on behalf of Tim and Tracy Carlin, General Ag to Rural, GA General Agriculture to RR Rural Residential Town of Wien now closed. The committee will now deliberate on the application, apply the standards of the zoning ordinance. What is the pleasure of the committee? Supervisor Seefeld.
I'll make a motion for the our petition of Aaron Carlin on behalf of Tim and Tracy Carlin to amend the General Code of Ordinance, Marathon County Chapter 17 zoning code to rezone land from general agricultural to rural residential in the town of Wien, and to approve all the conclusions of law and move it on to the county board.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Drayback. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Moving on to 8A2, Tim Vreeland on behalf of Margaret Fuentes, Rural Estate to Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton. We'll go back to Shad.
Margaret Fuentes, petition to rezone land, staff report, January 3rd, 2023, Environmental Resources Committee. Petitioner is Tim Vreeland of Vreeland Associates, 6103 Dawn Street, Weston, Wisconsin, 54475. Property owners Margaret Fuentes, 1534 63 South Road, Mosinee, 54455. Location of rezone request. The area proposed to be rezoned is located in the southeast corner of the intersection of South Road, South Oak Road, and Han Lane. Request. The petition of Tim Vreeland on behalf of Margaret Fuentes to amend General Code of Ordinances for Marathon County Chapter 17 zoning code to rezone lands from rural estate to rural residential, described as Lot 1 of certified survey map recorded in Volume 70, page 144, document number 1549681, located in the northwest quarter of the fractional northeast quarter of Section 2, Township 26 North, Range 7 East, Town of Knowlton. The area proposed to be rezoned is described as Lot 1 and Lot 2 of the preliminary CSM. The parent parcel is shown on the staff report. Public hearings, Town of Knowlton Town Board meeting was on December 12th, 2022. Marathon County Environmental Resource Committee is today, January 3rd, 2023. Legal advertisement was published in the Wausau Daily Herald. Notice of the zoning change request was also sent by regular mail to adjacent property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. The existing zoning district is rural estate. The existing generalized land use map, the area proposed to be rezoned is shown as woodlands, croplands, single-family residential, vacant barren land, and other agriculture. The proposed rezone district is rural residential. The town's comprehensive future land use map, the area proposed to be rezoned is shown as single-family residential and wetlands in the town's comprehensive future land use map. The town of Knowlton doesn't participate in farmland preservation. Here's an aerial photo of the property and the certified survey map. On December 12th, 2022, the Town of Knowlton Town Board recommended approval to the Marathon County's Environmental Resource Committee. Staff comments regarding ERC conclusions of law. 1, the Marathon County Comprehensive Plan relies on the Town Comprehensive Plan regarding specific land uses and zoning districts for individual parcels. The area proposed to be rezoned is shown to be designated as wetlands and single-family residential in the town's future land use map. CPZ staff rely on the towns to make these recommendations, given the town board members and the residents know their town and the true purpose intent of the plan. The area in question was not designated as farmland preservation area. The town of Knowlton doesn't participate in farmland preservation zoning, as indicated by the town's future land use map and resolution/recommendation. It appears the rezone is consistent with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan. 2, no farmland will be consumed. 3, the need for the proposal is a proposed land division. B, all necessarily public facilities are anticipated to be provided, if not already provided, giving any proposed development would rely off private systems such as private well and sanitary system if applicable. C, no anticipated burden on local government. All applicable building, construction, and use standards will be applied during the zoning and building permit review process. 4, all federal, state, and local permits and approvals are required for any applicable development on site. Additionally, the proposed rezone will likely not result in any unreasonable air or water pollution, as all pertinent regulations apply and will need to be adhered to. Any disturbance greater than 1 acre would need a DNR stormwater management permit. 5, the Town of Knowlton Town Board has recommended approval for this rezone petition. 6, the county was not made aware of any concerns from other agencies. Staff recommendations. The rezone meets all the zoning district standards as it relates to size, frontage, access, and dimension. The rezone also appears to be consistent with the purpose and intent of the town's comprehensive plan and is indicated by the town's resolution. Based on the information provided above, finding of facts, conclusions of law, and the town's recommendation, it appears the rezone request meets all the rezone criteria and standards for rezoning. Therefore, CPZ staff recommend that the Environmental Resource Committee recommend approval to the Marathon County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Shad. Any questions for staff? Seeing and hearing none, thank you. Moving on to public testimony. Anybody wishing, do you have questions, Supervisor Drabek?
I do not.
Oh, okay, thank you. You're good. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the proposed rezone, and we are on 8A2, please identify yourself at this time.
We do have Margaret Fuentes on the phone, I believe.
I was just present, this is Margaret. I was just present in case there were any questions.
Margaret, I'm going to swear you in just so if there are any questions, people can ask them. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee for Margaret, for the applicant? Okay. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak in favor of the proposed rezone, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the proposed rezone? Seeing and hearing none, anybody wishing to speak opposed to the rezone listed under 8A2 on the agenda, please identify yourself at this time. Last call, anybody wishing to speak against the proposed rezone, opposed to the proposed rezone 8A2, please identify yourself at this time. Seeing and hearing none, anybody wishing to speak as interested, the proposed rezone 8A2, please identify yourself at this time. Last call, anybody wishing to speak as interested, please identify yourself at this time. If no one else wishes to testify for this application, I'm now declaring the public hearing on Tim Vreeland on behalf of Margaret Fuentes, RE Rural Estate to RR Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton, now closed. The committee will now deliberate on the application, apply the standards in the zoning ordinance. What is the pleasure of the committee? Supervisor Ritter.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the petition of Tim Vreeland on behalf of Margaret Fuentes to amend the general code of ordinance for Marathon County Chapter 17 zoning code to rezone lands from rural estate to rural residential and based on the staff's recommendations and conclusions of law.
Motion is made. Is there a second? Second by Rodney Roskoff. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We have 8A3, Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick, General Ag to Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton, and we are back to Shad.
Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick on behalf of Laura Kolplitz, petition to rezone land, staff report, January 3rd, 2023, Environmental Resource Committee. Petitioners, Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick, 6300 Birch Street, apartment 260, Weston, Wisconsin, 54476. Property owners, Laura Kolplitz, 151400 Red Brick Road, Mosinee, Wisconsin, 54455. Location of the rezone request, the area proposed to be rezoned is located on Red Brick Road, approximately 0.4 miles east of the intersection of Irish Lane and Red Brick Road. The petition of Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick on behalf of Laura Kolplitz to amend the general code of ordinance for Marathon County Chapter 17 zoning code to rezone lands from general agriculture to rural residential, described as part of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 27, Township 26 North, Range 7 East, Town of Knowlton. Area proposed to be rezoned is described as Lot 1 of preliminary CSM and the parent parcel listed on the staff report. Public hearing, Town of Knowlton Town Board met on December 12th, 2022. Marathon County Environmental Resources Committee meeting today, January 3rd, 2023. A legal advertisement was published in the Wausau Daily Herald. Notice of the zoning change request was also sent by regular mail to adjacent property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. The existing zoning district is general agriculture. The existing generalized land use map for the town of Knowlton, the area proposed to be rezoned is shown as woodlands, croplands, and other agriculture in the town's comprehensive plan. The proposed zoning district is rural residential. The town's comprehensive future land use map, the area proposed to be rezoned is shown as single-family residential and wetlands and the town's comprehensive plan. Farmland preservation plan. The town of Knowlton doesn't participate in farmland preservation. Here's an aerial image of the property, as well as the certified, or the CSM. Town recommendation, on December 12th, the Town of Knowlton Town Board recommended approval to the Marathon County's Environmental Resource Committee. Staff comments regarding ERC conclusions of law. 1, the Marathon County Comprehensive Plan relies on the Town Comprehensive Plan regarding specific land uses and zoning districts for individual parcels. The area proposed to be rezoned is shown to be designated as single-family residential and wetlands in the town's future land use map. CPZ staff rely on the towns to make these recommendations, given the town board and residents know their town and true purpose and intent of the plan. The area in question was not designated as a farmland preservation area. The town of Knowlton doesn't participate in farmland preservation zoning. As indicated by the town's future land use map and resolution/recommendation, it appears the rezone is consistent with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan. 2, no farmland will be consumed. 3, the need is for a proposed land division. All necessary all necessary public facilities are anticipated to be provided, if not already provided, given any proposed development would rely of private systems such as well or sanitary system if applicable. No anticipated burden on local governments. All applicable building, construction, and use standards will be applied during the zoning and building permit review process. 4, all federal, state, and local permits and approvals are required for any applicable development on site. Additionally, the proposed rezone will likely not result in any unreasonable air or water pollution, as all pertinent regulations apply and will need to be adhered to. Any disturbance greater than 1 acre would need a DNR stormwater management permit. 5, the Town of Knowlton Town Board has recommended approval for this rezone petition. 6, the county was not made of any concerns from other agencies. Staff recommendations: the rezone meets all the zoning district standards as it relates to size, frontage, access, and dimension. The rezone also appears to be consistent with the purpose and intent of the town's comprehensive plan as indicated by the town's resolution. Based on the information provided above, finding of facts, conclusions of law, and the town's recommendation, it appears the rezone request meets all rezone criteria and standards for rezoning. Therefore, CPZ staff recommend that the Environmental Resource Committee recommend approval to the Marathon County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Shad. Any questions for staff? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Shad. We're still on 8A3. Anybody wishing to speak? We're under public testimony now. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the proposed rezone 8A3, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of the proposed rezone, please identify yourself at this time. Anybody wishing to speak opposed to 8A3, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak opposed to the proposed rezone, please identify yourself at this time. Anybody wishing to speak as interested for item 8A3, please identify yourself at this time. Last call. Anybody wishing to speak as interested, please identify yourself at this time. If no one else wishes to testify for this application, I am now declaring the public hearing on 8A3, Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick, GA General Agriculture to RR Rural Residential, Town of Knowlton, now closed. The committee will now deliberate on the application and apply the standards of the zoning ordinance. What is the pleasure of the committee? Go ahead, Supervisor Draybeck.
Working? Okay, thank you. I would make a motion to approve the rezone petition of Richard Kirsten and Christy Wick on behalf of Laura Koplitz. Okay, where was I going? Oh, I remember now. Okay, to rezone from general agriculture to rural residential based on the finding of facts and conclusions of law and also the town's recommendation.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Second by Rodney Roskoff. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We are going to do B1 yet. Review and possible recommendations to the county board for its consideration town zoning changes pursuant to Wisconsin statute 60.62 sub 3, B1, Town of Weston, RR5, rural residential.
Yep, so this is essentially, again, a non-county zone town, and they're proposing to go from the current zoning district is RR2 rural residential to RR5 rural residentials. And essentially the 2 stands for 2 acre parcel and the 5 stands for 5 acre parcel. But I don't believe we have anybody on the line from the town of Weston, so.
Well, there was information in the packet for, I think it's on page 60 and 61, so, oh, and 63 and 64, so 61 through 64, sorry, 60 through 64, if anybody had any questions, but you're familiar with these from last month. I think a motion to approve would be in order. Somebody would make that. Motion by Supervisor Seefeld to approve. Is there a second? Second by Supervisor Ritter. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay.
Chair Longenhunt,
Yes.
we did have a request that we do keep 10A as it'll take Administrator Leonard a minute or less to.
If you want, otherwise I can do it later.
Well, I wanted to get this done by 10 after 6, so you have 4 minutes.
I'll be quicker than that.
So to be clear, we're going to move from, we're going to go past C1, D, 9A, 1 and 2, and we're going to end up on 10A. Is there any objection from the committee doing that? No? All right, go ahead, Administrator Reliant, we're on 10A.
There is a large assembly ordinance that the county has. See, this is taking too much time already. There's a large assembly ordinance that the county has. It has been in my work plan as an item, so you can read the updates there. But the desired future state is that I form a work group with a representative of public safety, of infrastructure, and it was suggested of this committee, members of the county board, to essentially take a look at ordinance 12.04, because it is a policy action, and come up with some revisions to that ordinance for consideration by the full board. I will work with Corp Counsel to see if a formal charter and task force designation is necessary, but our initial review is that it's not. But if there's anybody that really wants to do that, please let me know. I have 2 individuals from Public Safety, Supervisor Mask, Supervisor Marash, and then from Infrastructure, Supervisor Straub. So take a look at that ordinance, and people can reach out to me. Don't all volunteer all at once.
Well, I was going to, Supervisor Draybeck.
Say, first of all, we're not all here, so to speak, because there's some missing.
I can send an email if that would be,
What I would, and Supervisor Draybeck brings up a really good point with, a limited number of us here. Why don't, an email would be great, and then when we do our part 2 of this month, I'll make an announcement and say that you're looking for volunteers. If no one else is willing to, I might be willing to, but I'll let everybody else have an opportunity first. So, okay, Supervisor Draybeck.
I just want to make sure that Marilyn would be on this, available for this too, is that correct?
That's a good question. I think she would.
I don't think there's anything barring that. I will just tell you my kind of spiel that I've given, and this is going to take me over the 1 minute. My spiel that I've given at the other committees is, this is really a policy action for the board. There's a lot of policy questions. Simply put, what size of assemblies do you want to regulate? That's not a question for staff. That's a question for the county board. And I will put in my email a link to some of the discussion that I've had at previous committees, so you don't need to watch me when we're here. You can do it on your own time in the comfort of your home.
Sure. Okay. Anything else for that agenda item? Any other questions right now? No? Okay. Stay tuned for that email. All right. That being said, we're going to move on to 11, next meeting of the Environmental Resources Committee, January 31st, 2022, 3 p.m., Assembly Room and future agenda items. Given that we had potentially 2 larger items under C today to talk about, and we weren't ready for C2, but C1, we were going to have a discussion today. As your chair, I'm just going to say we've gone way too long today with that other discussion. What I would like to do is have a second meeting either on Thursday or Friday. Staff will send out an email or I'm requesting that staff would send out an email for availability of our members. I apologize for those of you that had to drive in. The one thing I will say is that if we have it on Thursday and you don't have to be here on Friday for county board, standing committees you could attend virtually. Am I correct, Mr. Chair?
Standing, yeah, as long as, virtually is fine on standing committees.
Yep.
As long as. you
There's
don't
no
have
closed
session.
Yeah, there's no closed session on the remaining stuff. So if you didn't want to make that second drive in, I totally get it. It's a lot of time this month. You would of course be able to do that, but in a perfect world, I would like to schedule the next one sometime around the meeting on Friday at 1. That way we can sort of knock out 2 birds with 1 stone that day. But that depends on the availability of
1 o'clock.
rooms and.
The board
Could be
meeting
long,
on
too.
Friday at 1.
Yeah, I know. What I would like to do is have this like before. After is always a gamble as far as how long that meeting takes, but just pay attention for that email. Staff will ask for your availability for those 2 days. Okay? All right. 11B, or sorry, 11A, committee members are asked to bring ideas for future discussion. 11B, announcements, requests, correspondence. I have nothing. 12, adjournment of the ERC. I would entertain a motion. Motion by Supervisor Seifelt, second by Supervisor Unger. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It was unanimous. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.